The quintessential indie artist, Jack Stauber, is not normal. If you have remained unaware of the strange psychedelic, absurd indie pop music of Jack Stauber, you have a lot to catch up on. Surreal, absurd, and weird is a description that does not do Jack Stauber justice. From his bone-chilling animations to his abstract music, Jack is not afraid to experiment with his art. I have always wanted to make a video on Jack, but frankly, he is almost impossible to sum up in a short YouTube video. But I figured out I would at least have to try. Jack Stauber is a 23-year-old indie folk musician from Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. He is known for his surreal VHS animations, sporting a disturbingly childish art style, a constant infatuation with teeth, psychedelic synths, unique vocal inflections, and most importantly, existential themes of reality. At first glance, many would mistake Jack for some guy on the internet spewing random nonsense. Yet upon further inspection, his talent becomes clear. Jack Stauber can be described as many things: a storyteller, a musician, a songwriter, nightmare fuel, and a genius. It's important to break down certain aspects of his creations in order to better understand who he really is. Before commenting on his surreal MS Paint YouTube animations, I think it's necessary to begin with his music. Jack's release of songs can be quite unconventional sometimes, from his awkward promotions of albums to his extended versions of his short surreal animations he calls micropop singles. Jack has a fairly extensive sonic discography, especially for his age, sporting more than a few singles and a total of 4 densely packed albums. Finite Form may be Jack Stauber's first full-length album, but it's definitely not bad by any stretch of the term. The album features spaced-out synths, echoed vocals, and atmospheric instrumentals, which all help to stimulate the listener into a floating abyss. Although the sound is intriguing, the album is a little rough around the edges and definitely unpolished. A big part of Jack's art is about growing up and the struggles of the transition from childhood to adulthood. Something many will experience during this phase of their life is challenging or questioning the preconceived notions of the reality we live in. And he can't stress this message enough in Viator. A recurring theme on the album and much of his work seems to be his contemplation of God and/or a religion. Jack mentions looking up to the sky wondering if anything is there, angels, and a Christ potion. He seems to derive much of his inspiration for his art from his Christian upbringing, as he regularly references religion in his songs and his surreal existential animations. Pop Food is an album where Jack Stauber becomes Jack Stauber. He finally finds his consistent, quirky sound and fixes previous issues such as track mixing. This polished album contains his most popular song yet, Buttercup, which, like many on the album, is full of personality and catchiness. Jack also includes mentions of his childhood and using AIM Messenger. Oddly enough, the album features a song where Jack theoretically spends time in jail, loses hope, and finds God. The following album, High Low, is a continuation of Jack's experimental yet addictive sound. This collection of songs sports some fairly upbeat instrumentals contrasted with topics about social anxiety, depression, suicide, and a 2018 robbery, kidnapping, and arson in which a couple was escorted to an ATM, then tied up in their own home, which was then set on fire. He of course mentions his childhood in Getting My Mom On, and acknowledges a time where someone in his life told him to stop being depressed and get a job. The last song on the album, Pizza Boy, I find strangely compelled to. The song gets its title from one of Jack Stauber's biggest fans, if not his biggest, Pizza Boy Anthony, a kid on the internet who is frankly just being a kid, void of expectations and obligations. His sound bites are unexpectedly ethereal, and every lyric on the song challenges the idea of destiny. Pizza Boy Anthony is not just featured on Jack Stauber's album, he is the first thing you see when you discover Jack Stauber.
Who is Jack Stauber? it's this guy that he makes one of those funny music videos that are trying to think that he makes VHS videos from the 80s or 90s or whatever.
I mean, if that's not the
Jack
best YouTube
Stauber,
intro, I
lives
really
in
honestly
Pittsburg,
don't know what is.
Pennsylvania.
Jack's YouTube channel is what he is known for the most, and that is no surprise. His unique nightmarish and nostalgic style is a breath of fresh air and has entertained millions of people. The disturbing MS Paint and clay animations Jack posts have become sensational for not only their weirdness, but more importantly for their overall tone and message. Jack has a way with creating a story so dumb, yet so emotionally potent. A true talent. Like I've mentioned before, Jack tells stories from the perspective of childhood, a time of innocence and ignorance. There is something to be said about a child's discovery that reality isn't the way they imagine, and that life can be unfair. Each Jack Stauber video feels familiar and nostalgic, largely due to the childlike drawings, reverb piano chords, and the passionate voice acting or lack thereof. The presentation of his videos are not an accurate perception of reality, but neither is a child's imaginative state. Stores don't actually take teeth as currency, figs don't have actual insight on why you cook, physics won't allow rain to penetrate through an awning, and time travel is not possible. But is it? Jack, like many of us, is entertained by the simple idea of questioning our reality without jumping to conclusions. At a young age, he was instilled with the idea of a god, something that till this day he is unsure of. Things like that are meant to be questioned a lot, and not to be rushed to a decision. Patience and thoroughness is what separates childhood from adulthood, and Jack Stauber is not done with challenging his reality. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you want to, and make sure you put on the notifications, because YouTube's definitely not going to send you my videos. And thank you to my Patreons. Like, what the heck, guys? You guys are crazy. And thank you specifically to Bread Has No Taste, Cluster, Merlot Uncensored, Michael Walters, and Serge Adalian. Again, thank you everyone, and goodbye. I'll see you in the next video.